What's up, everybody? Chef Hesh here from KickazzEats.com. Remember a couple days ago when I told you about that 10-pound pork loin that I got and I cut it into 3 sections? They're all about 3 pounds apiece. Well, I've got one here today. Look at that guy. Oh, delicious. I'm going to make soup today using a pork loin. Like, what? Who does that? Well, I do. Very, very simple. I've got half of a diced white onion here. My pork loin, I've got some chicken broth. I'm going to use about a cup because I'm going to do this in the pressure cooker. If you don't have one, hit me up in the comments below and I'll give you some alternative ways to cook this pork loin extremely quickly and extremely deliciously. I've got my smoked paprika, obviously salt and pepper, gotta have it. Herbs de Provence, oh, one of my favorite seasonings of all time, and some cumin. I'm also going to be using rotel, you also know I love rotel, and some tomato sauce. Nice and simple, going to be delicious. I will be adding instant rice. Why? Because I don't want to screw it up. Instant rice, it's really hard to mess up, and I don't want to do this 2 or 3 times. I just want to do it once and get it right. So, let's get to it. Because I'm going to pressure cook this, but I'm actually going to be doing it in 2 different ways, shredded and diced. I'm going to actually be doing 2 soups, same soup base, 2 different meats. What I'm going to do is simply cut this into quarters. Make sure to sharpen your knives. A dull knife is a dangerous knife. We don't want to cut our fingers off here. Boom, quartered, ready to go. I got a little scrap there, but we're throwing them into our bowl. Why? Because we're going to take these quarters, set them into our bowl. Quick rinse of the hands, and we're going to start seasoning. Super quick, super simple. We'll be right back. So, first things first, salt. Pork is inherently salty when it's cooked. The salt comes out a little bit, but because we have not trimmed any of the fat off of this, that's going to kind of base out the flavor a little bit. So we're going to need a little bit, especially because we're going to put this in a stock pot and let it go for about an hour once it's pressure cooked, just to make sure that all the other ingredients, which you'll see coming up, are really married together with all of their flavors. It's going to be great. Looks like I'm putting in a ton of salt, but as we've talked about before, it's the shaker. You know, very low output.
That's pepper, Chef Hesh.
Did I say salt?
You sure did.
I meant pepper. This is pepper, not salt. Boy, if it was salt, this would be terrible. I had a bean incident once. We'll talk about that one later. It was burn your mouth in the wrong way kind of beans, I tell you. Smoked paprika? A little or a lot. That's up to you. Just your cooking. You know, we're doing it to taste. This, I can never get enough of this. I will just eat this. Herbs de Provence. Just throw some in. Boom. Oh, you see, I can already smell this. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, because I'm doing a tomato and a chili base, I'm going to want to use a little bit of cumin. Cumin is common in like taco seasonings, pork seasonings, all kinds of things. Oh, it smells so good. Now, I don't want this to taste like tacos because it's a soup. I mean, now taco soup is delicious, and we will have a recipe coming up for that. But I just wanted to impart its beautiful, delicious fragrance and remix, to quote a good friend of mine, as if I actually knew him. I'm sure you guys watch him too. You should know who I'm talking about, Sam the Cooking Guy. Yeah, just mix this up. Let it go. Let it just do its thing. We're going to get our hands all porky and dirty and see. I'm not sure if you can. Look at that color. That's what we want. We want that color. Oh yeah, look at that fat cap right there. Oh, this is going to be freaking delicious. Absolutely. Now, am I going to stick this in the fridge overnight to let it rest? No. Am I going to let it rest for even 5 minutes? No. This is not a marinade. It's kind of a rub because, well, I was just kind of like playing with my pork. But, no. I'm going to take this right over here into my Ninja Foodie pressure cooker. Throw the pressure cooking cap on it after I add my 1 cup of chicken stock. and I'm gonna cook it for about an hour. So yeah, let's get her done. See, thump right in there. I got a bowl to clean now. Great. Add our chicken stock. Stick the lid on. You're done. It's set and forget. That's it. I mean, dump some onion in. I mean, who doesn't like onion? I actually cannot eat them raw. I'm allergic to raw onion, but for some weird reason, when they're cooked, I can eat them and it doesn't make my mouth swell. So I always cook my onion. God, I would love to eat these raw. Like, it smells so good. Just dump them in there. That's it. We'll be back in a few minutes. That'll be done. I'll show you the next steps. And we're eating good tonight. Guarantee it. Once our pressure cooked pork is completely done, we're going to take some of it and shred it. You just throw it in your bowl. Take 2 forks and just go to town on this. I mean, look at that. Delicious. Since I'm doing the pork 2 ways, I've got a nice quarter. Here, look at that. Nice, tender, juicy, delicious. I'm going to take this and I'm going to essentially just cut it into small slices, as such. Oh, look at this. Absolutely beautiful. Let me cut it up. Don't trim the fat, we need that. That's flavor. It's going to kind of come out in the wash anyway, so to speak. I want some decent sized chunks here. Not too small, but I mean, we don't want a giant hunk either, you know. We get a good size. When you're preparing food, you always have to think about the people who are going to eat it and how they're going to eat it. You shouldn't have to use a fork for this. You should be able to use a spoon. I mean, it's a soup after all, right? So, I'm just going to slice these up into manageable chunks. Same thing when you're shredding. When you're shredding, you want to make sure that it's a nice fine shred that you can pick up with a spoon, because we've got just your standard at best choice. I use generics because they taste just as good and they're a whole lot cheaper. Country blend, corn, carrots, green beans. I've got 2 bags. They're already steamed. They're ready to go. I've got my shreds ready. I've got my chunks ready. What we need to do now is get the sauce ready. The base, the soup base. So, I've got a stock pot here. And I've reserved all of the liquid from the pressure cooker. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Here, I'll move it around a little bit. Absolutely delicious. It smells like amazing. We reserved all the juices from the cooking pork. All of it. I mean, absolutely gold. I've got tomato sauce. I'm going to take that over here, dump it in. Nice and simple. I've got the rotelli, you know I love. Dump it in. Nice and simple. Oh boy, this is going to be great. One secret ingredient that I like to add, because we're working with pork, here it is. Salsa verde. It's just a green salsa. We don't want a lot, because we already have peppers, onions, etc. in there, but this stuff is beautiful. We're going to add just a tiny bit, 2 teaspoons. That's all we need. We don't need any more than that. We don't want to really overdo it. I've got some chicken stock. Why am I using chicken stock and not pork stock? Well, have you ever found pork stock in the grocery store? I haven't. If you have, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to obtain some. Because this was bone out, I wasn't able to make my own pork stock, although I can show you how to do that. So I'm just going to pour some of this in. I've got about 3/4 of a container, And I'm going to put just a little bit in there, probably about a cup and a half. Just going to go ahead and add this, because I don't want things to get too dry. We are adding rice to this, and rice tends to suck up water. Oh wait, what's that? Rice, you say? That instant rice that I spoke about earlier? I've already got it done. It's ready to go. So, once I bring my stock pot up to temperature and really get this soup base going, I'm going to ladle in some rice. I'm going to reserve some in this pot here. But I've got my chunked pork in. I'm going to go ahead and ladle over some rice and add the soup base to it. Just like I'm going to add this shredded pork to my stock pot. One thing we're missing here? The vegetables. And we all know you gotta have vegetables. Use your handy dandy knife. I carry one on my hip all the time, because you never know when you're going to need it. I mean, emergency cooking, hello. Just dump these suckers in after you steam them. It took like 5 minutes. Dump those suckers in there. You will not regret this. Oh, this is going to be yummy. Once we've got our veg in, use our handy dandy wooden spoon, give it a stir. That's it. Bring it up to temperature. Once it's fully incorporated and it's up to temperature, if it reduces a little bit, we'll add some more chicken broth. We will check it for seasoning. Maybe it needs a little bit of salt. Maybe it needs a little bit more cayenne. Maybe it doesn't need anything. We won't know until we know. After that, we're essentially going to ladle some into the pot that we're using for our chunked pork. And then we're going to dump the rest into the stock pot. Simmer it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then we eat. It's going to be great. We'll be right back. One of the most beautiful things about soup is creating the base. You've got your liquids, you've got your vegetables, you've got your seasonings in there. Oh, man, it's so delicious. I really wish you could smell this. It is just, oh, absolutely gorgeous. I mentioned earlier we're doing soup 2 ways. One with our awesome shreds, and one with chunks. They're seasoned the same way, it's just 2 different textures when you go to eat this. I also have my rice finished. As you can see here, it's ready to go. See, just rice. Basic rice. I use the, instant rice because, well, I'm still working on my rice game. Sometimes it's a little crunchy, and nobody likes crunchy rice. If you do like crunchy rice, let me know why in the comments below, because crunchy rice is weird. So, our next step is to ladle some of this into our chunks, because the rest we're throwing into our stock pot. So I'm just going to take a good healthy spoonful, ladle it in. You want to try to maintain a ratio here. We don't want more rice than pork. We don't want more pork than rice. We kind of want it to be about the same. So, a couple little spoonfuls of rice. Good to go. What's not to love? Ladle. Bam! Come over to your stock pot full. I would tilt this so that you could see it, but that's kind of dangerous because it's very, very hot. I'm going to ladle some of this veg in there. So you can see we've got a healthy amount of vegetable in there. Oh, look at that. That's great. Now for the tricky part. I want the fluid. I don't really want any more veg because I've got plenty. So I'm gonna, you can't see this, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna ladle in some of that fluid because this is a soup. It's not a stew. It needs to be nice and brothy. How many ladles? Not sure. Do it to taste. This is you cooking. Use your eyeballs. You can figure this out. I've got a few in here. Oh, and look at that. That looks like a pot of soup to me. Does it to you? Let me know. Give it a little stir. Oh, yes. Oh, so we've got the pork, the rice, the vegetables, the broth. Oh, we're looking good. At this point, because everything is already cooked, we just need to make sure that it's heated through because our pork has cooled, and we actually want that. Because as it reheats, it's going to suck in some of that flavor. It's going to be delicious. I'm going to take the rest of my rice, as you can see here, and dump it in. Super simple. Just throw that in there. Really not much to it. Give it a little stir. Oh yes, look at that. What are we forgetting? Oh wait, our shredded pork. Oh, this is the best part. I mean, I do love carrots. Carrots are one of my favorite things, and we've got quite a bit in here. With this pork, it's going to make this soup. Dump it in. All of it. Just throw it in there. Oh yeah. Use your handy dandy wooden spoon. Give it a stir. Just stir it. Oh. That is a nice hearty soup. Didn't take very long to make. Low cost, low effort, high taste, beautiful flavor. I wish we had like smell-o-vision or something. You remember smell-o-vision? Old Ricky Lake? Never mind. Yeah, I wish we had smell-o-vision because if you could smell this, your mouths would be watering and you would be rushing to your kitchen to make this. At this point, we let it simmer. About 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you can even go an hour. Don't reduce it too much. This isn't a stew, we want it brothy. And you're done. Put it in a bowl, serve it to your folks. They're going to love it. They'll appreciate you for it, just like I appreciate you. Remember, stay foodie. And we'll be right back, and you'll see how beautiful this is in the bowl. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. You've seen what we've done here. Absolutely gorgeous, amazing pork loin with vegetables. This very unctuous, flavorful sauce. Broth, soup base, whatever you want to call it. It's the good juicy juice, you know what I mean? Not that stuff you got as a kid. This particular iteration here, I'm not sure if you can see that. Oh, chunk pork. Absolutely delicious. I'm just going to ladle some of this in there. Make sure you've got enough broth. Oh yes. Delicious. This, I'm not going to try to move this so you can see it because, well, it's quite full and heavy. This is the shredded pork. Just ladle some of that in there. Get some of that beautiful broth. Oh man, don't wait too long because this rice is it's gonna try to suck up some of that beautiful broth. This is a soup, not a stew, but one could term it a stewy soup because it's not like just running with a couple things in it. No, this is nice and gorgeous. Look at this. absolutely great. One last thing that I like to do before I serve this. Parsley. And we've seen this in a video before. McCormick parsley flakes. Dry, as opposed to fresh or wet herbs, they impart two different flavors. Personally, I prefer the dry herb. You get a little bit more flavor out of it. That's it. Shake some over, serve, and enjoy. And always, remember, stay foodie. Try new things. You'll love it. Explore the culinary world. It's worth it. I'll see you next time.